Welcome back to What a Shout special edition. It's glorious, it's Goodwood. What a week we have in store. What a panel we have in store for you as well for the Racing Post. Brought to you by Bet365 as well, our sponsors. Paul Kealy joins us back in the long week ahead, Keels. How are you feeling about the week? Are you a Goodwood fan?
I love Goodwood, always have done. I mean, it's only just a few years ago I used to declare that it was a licence to print money, and here we go every year. And ever since I said that, I found it very hard. But I always go in there looking reasonably bullish, feeling reasonably bullish. And I'll be having a punt on a fair few races.
What can go wrong? Absolutely.
Pretty much everything, like it has for the last 2 months since we had resumption, to be honest. But let's go.
It's got a turn, hasn't it?
It has got a turn.
Talking of turning, let's go across the Irish Sea. David Jennings joins us. Morning, DJ.
Morning, Dave.
Happy days. Goodwood, Marmite, or?
Oh, no, I love Goodwood. This is obviously one of my favourite weeks of the year. Usually I'm jammed into Galway and drinking about 40 pints every night, so it's a little bit different this year. But I'm down there on Wednesday and Thursday for plate and hurdle and keeping a keen eye on Goodwood. I love Goodwood. I just love the track.
From our sponsors, Pat Cooney joins us. Pat, good morning to you.
Good morning, fellas.
You're in for the 5 days stint like myself. We'll get down and nitty gritty, Pat. Lots of offers for us along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a terrific meeting, this, and really looking forward to it.
Great stuff. Okay, so before we go into the races, just give you an offer from Bet365. The referral code SHOUT365. You can bet £5, get up to £100 in bet credits. Terms and conditions apply. Right then, looking into the first of the races on the week, it's the 110 EBF Mile Handicap, 0 to 95 for Fillies. Fiercely competitive, as you might imagine. Paul Kealy, give us some help.
Fiercely competitive, I don't know. I mean, other than your normal Goodwood troubling running, I thought this was fairly straightforward. I think Wasayev is quite a generous price at 3 to 1. I mean, just looking from a pure handicapping term, she's running 3 novice races. On the second of them, she beat Alpenrose, who's now rated 103. On the third of them, she was beaten the neck by Queen Daenerys, who's now rated 103. She was giving her £6, and she's in this handicap of 93.
Yeah, she does look like a potential, a proverbial, doesn't she?
Yeah, it's one of those that she just could be ludicrously well handled.
You think maybe if she hadn't had a slight hold up, they might have looked for some black type there or something. They're probably looking at other forms worked out on there and think, I've got the run. First time out against some hardened fillies?
Yeah, first time out. But I mean, first time out in July, almost August. Obviously she probably had a hold up, but I can't believe she isn't going to be reasonably fit. And any horse that's had a hold up, you tend to find these days that they are pretty fit when they go back, because you don't want to run a horse who's had an injury and put it under pressure when it's not fit enough. You know what I mean? So she just looks incredibly obvious. I expected it to be shorter than 3 to 1, basically.
Interesting. Shorter than 3 to 1 for Paul Kealy. A big tick for the Fab. John Gosden's. Dave Jennings.
Yeah, obviously Waziev is really interesting. Like that novice stakes at Newmarket that she was second in. Golden Pass, who was third, won a maiden at Beverley first time out this year. Barani Star was fourth, so the form has worked out really well and could be really well handicapped. The one that I just sided with, it's 10 to 1 with Bet365. I think Declared Interest will run well, because I just think with Declared Interest, I think she just about gets a mile, and I think the way her last 2 races were ran, really strongly run miles at Ascot, I think it just tested her stamina a little bit. Like, she was only beaten 3 lengths by Onassis in the Sandringham off a mark of 82. She's only £1 higher now. She actually traded quite short in running that day. Travelled really well. Travelled really get too well probably last time back at Ascot. I still think she's a well-handicapped filly off 83, and she's a double-figure price now at Bet365. So I'm just about going to side with Declared Interest.
Bit of value for DJ in the first. Pat Cooney.
Yeah, I quite like Tomorrow's Dream. I thought she was unlucky at Newbury. Unlucky in a 6-runner race, but that she was unlucky in a Class 2, and this is a Class 3. She went up a couple of pounds for it, but I did walk away from Newbury that day thinking, and I did back her at 3 to 1 that day. I think she went off at 2, and I thought, that was one that got away. So I'm gonna keep the faith and just know that she was unlucky, and then maybe a grade higher. But Wasayev, yeah, you have to draw a big ring round that. Of a mark of 93 would suggest that there'll be other days for her, if not today. But I just have to honour Tomorrow's Dream unlucky run last time.
I think she's rock solid as well. William Haggis could do little wrong with his stable at the minute, but this filly had absolutely no luck whatsoever at Newbury. I'll be with you, Pat, as well. That's the first then, the filly's handicap. 1:45 then, second race on the card. Just as you thought it was getting any easier, think again, about 5 to 1 the field, I'd imagine at the moment. We're looking at the Unibet You're On handicap. 1:45, DJ, take it away.
Love this race. I think there's so many improving 4-year-olds in here. Like Cape Cavalli, very impressive last time. Always looked as though he was going to develop into a good horse. 5th position, rate 104. It's a really good race. The one that I've come down on here is Maidani, because I suppose I'm a glutton for punishment and I'm very easily forgiving. I just thought the last run at Newmarket was too bad to be true. It was sent off odds on that day, and it was a messy sort of a race. It was one of them small field handicaps at Newmarket where they went on different parts of the track. I thought the run in the Silver Hunt Cup, where Maidani was drawn 5, but won his group quite convincingly that day. Only finished 7th, but did win his group. And to me, his form stacks up. When he won at that handicap at Jarmouth off 80, I said this could be a group horse in the making. He's rated 90 now. I still think he's a good horse. He's drawn 1 here, which I don't know if it was a help or a hindrance, but I'm going to give him another chance. I think he's a good horse. I think he's a better horse than a market 90 suggests. So Maidani for me, 8-1 with Bet365.
He touched on the draw. If you're not sure about Goodwood out there, races up to a mile on the round course, so 7 furlongs mile, low draw, massive help, especially over the mile. Not so much over 10 furlongs, but 1 on the inside for Maidani. They're going to have to cover him up, I think. This was the horse to take out the meeting for so many people at Royal Ascot, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course he was. He was very, he was very eye-catching. Obviously, Mark Johnston's got a tremendous record in this race as well, so you got to give him a serious shout. Draw, I do not worry about the draw at all at Goodwood until Friday, Saturday. That's when they widen the straight course and the top bend becomes very tight. There have been 5 winners, I think, drawn 10 or higher of this race, 1 out of 17. So to me, it's not an issue wherever you are. A bit like Dave, I'm becoming you have to be a forgiving man, and I paid for this at the weekend because I'd lumped an horse called Musica at Ripon on Friday night, and it ran no race for me, and I'm on it like 7-2, goes off 5-2 favourite, and I thought I'm not having that. York
Saturday
at the weekend, Saturday 10-1 bolts up, and if a mate of mine texted me, he said, why haven't you backed that? He said, without the Friday run, it's 5-1. You'd have been all over it, and it's twice the price. So that's the way I'm looking at it. And there's a horse in this race called Babbo's Boy.
Yeah.
On his first run this season, first time blinkers, Rafe Beckett absolutely dotted up at Haydock. Good to soft ground, 1 mile 2, and he beat Harrovian by 3 lengths, who came out and bolted up next time. Went off full favourite for the John Smith's Cup at York afterwards. Okay, didn't run a race. But, I mean, the next time out form figures of the horses, next 4-5 home at Haydock were 1-1-3-1-1. Right, Babbo's Boy came out, 7-1 for the Old Newton Cup, tailed off. But it was soft ground, it was 1.5 miles, and he was still there 2.5 furlongs out. I just don't think he stayed.
That was a messy race.
I saw him, I thought I'm going to have a few quid on this. First show, 22-1. I couldn't believe it. This morning it's 33-1. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have a little bit more on. Other one I backed in the race is Alternative Fact. He was actually 6th to Babbo's Boy.
He was. Came out, ran really well, 3rd to Sebaska, then won at Haydock, then finished 2nd back at Haydock to Kazar, who did bolt up, but he got hampered at the start, and then he had to switch from one side to the other to make his run. Did well to beat the rest. All of his best form was over 1.2 miles, 1.5 miles last season, but all his runs this year have been over 1 mile. The 3 good ones. So to me, he's improving, and if he goes back up to 1 mile and shows that he's improved, then he's going to have a massive chance again. Interesting horse, Alternative Fact. He's a horse that I've charted throughout his career. They do experiment with the trip with him. It's quite interesting. And if you look at his mile 2 form, I'm on side with him. Tinandali is the other one. I know he's come right down in the market now. Very rarely do I not bet unless it's 10 minutes before a race. I'm one of those punters. I'm waiting for the market. I want to see him going down. But when this was around about 11-1, if you look back at his run in the John Smith's Cup, it was horrible. I think he'll reverse that form with fifth position. So Tinandali for me. Pat Cooney.
I quite like 5th position in the race. I thought he ran quite well in the John Smith's Cup. He was 3rd of 22 off the same mark. So he was beaten 4 lengths, but that's one of the hardest handicaps to win. He beat 19 other horses. So, it was still a performance with a great deal of merit. I'm intrigued by the fact he's got first-time blinkers. That's not normally a Rogerian ploy, so it must be very significant. I don't know what Jack Mitchell said when he came back after York. If he said, I would have won if I had a pair of blinkers on, then that makes a lot of appeal to me. He's around about 3rd favourite at the moment. And ordinarily, there's always money for Rogerian horses in handicaps, and I think this will be the case again. So I'm a 5th position man. I think his draw is okay in stall 10 as well.
A classic, glorious Goodwood handicap to get your teeth stuck into. We could talk about it forever. We'll stop there. 2:15, first group race of the day then is the Vintage Stakes, the Pinatubo route. Let's go here first. Keels, I want to come to you. This race, to me, looks all about how much improvement Battleground has made from Ascot. The horses up against him in the market have run very well. Used Spirit, I always thought there'd be a gamble on this. Devious Company, Tough As You Like, coming from the July meeting. Where do we stand with Battleground?
Well, myself and Dave were all over him for Royal Ascot, and he did what we wanted him to do. If you look at that form, it's not, you can't say it's rubbish, but it's way below the normal standard of a Vintage Stakes winner, a long way. In fact, I think we give it RPR 99. Remember, Pinatubo ran 122 last year, and I think the lowest is 108. So
it was breathtaking last year.
He ought to improve again, but so had a lot of others. And the form behind has worked out terrible. I mean, I think there's been one winner, and that was in the match at 2-9 and scrambled home by Shorthead.
80-1 shot third.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I just think you've got to take him on. As much as I like the look at him, I'm going to take him on. And I think Alan King's Painless Pot was a massive price. He finished 5th in the Coventry, and he did all his best work very much at the death. He's another big, good-looking horse as well. And I just wonder whether, that was too soon. The trip was obviously too short for him. He travelled well early, got outpaced when they speeded up, and then ran on really strongly at the end. I just think at an each-way price, he's been completely forgotten. That form isn't a million miles off Battleground, and he's definitely going to improve for the extra distance.
It's interesting they're coming here with that horse, isn't it? I covered his debut for the
they could go anywhere. They go with novice.
Exactly. They could have got the handicap mark.
Alan King, he'd make a real big impact if he switched to the flat full time, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? Because he is a very, very good trainer on flat horse.
Yeah, one of the stories of Royal Ascot, will he be one of the stories of Glorious Goodwood? Dave Jennings, are you deserting Battleground?
I'm not. I can actually completely see Keels' point. I thought it was probably a terrible Chesham. The form has worked out not great at all. And when you're trying to pick holes in a favourite, this is an easy one to pick holes in, and you can definitely make a case for there being value outside. But I just think with Battleground, I just thought he was so professional, and I think he's the type of horse. I don't think he's ever going to be your Pinatubo or a really, really flashy juvenile. I think he's just a case of he's kind of laid back, relaxed. I think he'll just get the job done. And I thought he was well on top at the line in the Chesham. And I just wonder, like a lot of Aiden's 2-year-olds have kind of won early on in the season since racing resumed. And then they've ran really poorly since, like More Beautiful and a couple of others who were highly regarded. I just think with Battleground, I think he's a bit different. He's a big, strong, imposing colt who I think is just going to keep on improving throughout the season. Like Aiden won this race in 2014 with Highland Reel. He won again in 2016 with War Decree. And obviously Lupi Fernandez came back and tackled Pinatubo in this race last year. I think he does like this race for his top 2-year-olds. I just think it's one of these ones where you can't really go on form because it was such a bad Chesham, but you can go on your eye. And my eye told me this is the best juvenile in Ballydoyle, and I still think he is. So you're getting 11-8 with Bet365 about who I think is Ballydoyle's best 2-year-old. So I'm happy enough to take that.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Dave. It's a price thing, Pat, isn't it? It's just, he shouldn't really be a 5-4, 11-8 shot on form, but that leap of improvement might be there. Where are you going, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, he was visually impressive, wasn't he? No doubt about it. But his current price wouldn't thrill me as a potential punter. I quite like King Zane in the race, Mark Johnston. We all know he's going to have a load of winners somewhere along the line over the 5 days. Frankie aboard. He ran behind Devious Company last time out, but he got hampered at the start and the ball never bounced his way. I think if you draw a line through that run and judge him on his winning debut, you can give him some sort of a chance. I'd rather be backing horses each way like King Zane at 10 than Battleground at 11-8. But with Battleground, as DJ says, your eyes said yes, the form book says no at 11-8. So I think you'd have to be taking him on at that price. But if he wins well, I'm sure he'll shorten up again for the Guineas. 3
races in, the battle lines have been drawn. Are you with or against the Fav? 2:45, one of my favourite races of the entire week. It's the 7 furlong Lennox Stakes. And what a field we have. So many angles in. Perhaps Pat Cooney will come to you first. Give us an update on the market.
A well-backed favourite here, Space Blues, the Godolphin horse, Charlie Appleby, Will Buick. They can do no wrong at the moment. A well-backed favourite, but plenty of horses being backed with an each-way angle. Dubai, stablemate with Frankie aboard, has been popular at prices. My eye is drawn to our old pal Sir Dancelot. He's won this race for the last 2 years in a row. Elsie's horses haven't necessarily been flying as present, but you would imagine he would have drawn a ring round this race and said, "Yep, that's where Sir Dancelot's going to have his Cup final." I thought he ran well in the July Cup behind Oxted. He wasn't beating a million miles at all. And you just think, yeah, back with Gerard Mosse, you could just see another hold-up, fast finish, maybe get up and win in a photo for the third year in a row. But no denying, Space Blue's a solid favourite here.
Yeah, it's not just Stradivarius that's going for the record wins in a race. It's, of course, your old pal, Sir Dancelot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love Sir Dancelot. He's a terrific horse. I mean, he is borderline Group 1 standard when he gets it right. Very fast ground, 7 furlong, strong pace. He isn't very fast ground. It will be quickening up throughout the day, I'm sure. I mean, the key horse here is Space Blues, but as you heard Pat said, Sir Dancelot get out the win by winning the photo for the third year running. All right. If everything goes well and it's a clear trouble-free race, Space Blues is the very obvious favourite and by far the most likely
It won't
winner.
be.
But it's Goodwood.
It never is
won't
this
be.
race.
It's 5-2.
Yeah.
If you know, heart in your mouth time. Like, you know what I mean? So I've just had a couple of pokes at bigger prices. Again, being of a forgiving nature, Marie's Diamond was 8-1 for the Summer Mile, was twice the price for this. Now, the Summer Mile was a Group 2, this was a Group 2, they were similar standards. It was 8-1 for that race because he'd finished third to Circus Maximus in the Queen Anne.
Pace angle, of course.
From the front. He is potentially, I mean, say potentially because there's so many runners, the only front runner in a race. He's drawn 2, he finds plenty when he's in the mood. I mean, he dropped out so early at Ascot. I mean, I don't know what went wrong with him there, but it wasn't his running. I mean, he was beaten turning into the straight. And when he's in the mood, he run well. And if he stacks him up behind, he should be in the frame. Now, I mean, I've backed him win only because there were only 3 places available pretty much everywhere. And he has known to blow out in the past as well. He's done it before. So, he's got a shot. But if something takes him on...
Could be a glorious journey, couldn't it?
Then why not choose a Goodwood specialist? I mean, we've got one in Sir Dancelot, but what about Beat Le Bon? He hacked up the 2 handicaps last year, 1 over 7 furlongs in May, and then the Golden Mile when he absolutely just flew down the outside and he beat him easily.
He took him to Australia, didn't that? That was a weird move.
Yeah. I went there once, didn't run that badly, but he ran in the Summer Mile and, well, I mean, he wouldn't have lasted 4 furlongs, would he? He pulled so hard in the early stages. He had to be re-shod before going down the start. I don't know whether he got worked up because of that or not, but it wasn't his running. As Richard Hanna said, he is a very good horse. He says in the paper today, he's a very good horse, make no mistake about it, and he does like the track. So they were my 2 against the field, absolutely fully prepared for Space Blues to burst through the centre, get a clear run and win easily, but I'm not prepared to back him at 5-2 to do so. DJ, you're expecting that to happen, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm expecting Space Blues to burst through the centre and win easily, and I am prepared to back him at 5-2. If ever there was a horse just made for a race, like I just think with Space Blues, he's one of these horses where he has loads of pace, and I think he has the potential when he does put it all together to make a top kind of 6 furlong sprinter, Diamond Jubilee type. But I just think this 7 at Goodwood, where the emphasis is on that turn of foot, on that speed, 2 furlongs out, like it's one of these races where you don't really think of the Lennox Stakes throughout the season, but with Space Blues, it was just always in my head. And I actually thought he did well to win at Longchamp last time because I didn't think the race went to plan at all. And there was just a moment where you said, oh, Dubai is gone. And all of a sudden, in 3 strides, Space Blues had him. I think he's a Group 1 horse. I think he's that good. I think the price is very, very fair. I know you need luck and running, but Lord God, you need luck and running every race. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be using kind of that as an excuse. Oh, I hope the gap's open. He has to go and make the gaps open. He's drawn 10, so I actually don't think that's too bad for him. I think he'll sit towards the outside of something in the middle of the pack, and I just think he might just sweep by them on the outside. I think he's got far too much pace for these. The one at a big price that I certainly do agree with Keels is Beat Le Bon. This horse ran really well in the Summer Mile. I know it travelled really well in the Summer Mile. He was far too keen, but like, if you actually stopped to take maybe 2 out, you would have said, he might be placed or he'll just be beaten for the places here. But I think he's a better horse than we've seen there. And I think he'll run well at about 25-1, but Space Blues without any shadow of a doubt for me.
There was a bit of groaning going on there, I could hear, when we were talking about the luck in running. Did you want to counter that? Or?
Well, yeah, I mean, the point is a Goodwood is a bit like Epsom. They're all going to start leaning in, aren't they? They'll all sort of gravitate towards that rail, and you are going to get horses that are snatched up. You're going to see it, race in, race out, basically.
From memory, this is the one where they can flash by together, this race.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the 7 furlong races tend to be pretty close, don't they? I mean, not always, but I mean, you've got, bear in mind, official ratings has £5 between, I think, the first 10 in the highest rating. So there isn't a lot between them on marks.
Another Goodwood specialist is Duke Hazard, of course, 3 from 3 there. I thought he ran
really
really well
yeah.
against Mahatha. And if you look at that, he's just tying up a little bit of the line as well. He'll do for me. He's a horse that does take a couple of runs, if you look at his profile, to come good as well. Head scratching race then. That's the Lennox Stakes. Right then, 3:15. It's the Group 1 Goodwood Cup. Stradivarius. Is this the toughest battle he's faced to date? We were talking about this off air. DJ will come to him in a minute with this. But.
Well, I mean, it's probably the toughest staying battle he's had to date, and we've got all these question marks. I mean, will the ground be soft enough for him?
That's ridiculous.
Well, he's been said to be a fast ground horse all his life, but all his best form is on soft ground, in fact. But no, it'll be fine for him. He is. I mean, it's not very often that you're going to get a last time out Irish Derby winner being odds against for a group race, staying group race, and he's giving £15 to Santiago. So it's a fair ask, but I mean, I think he proved himself a great Ascot. I think he absolutely slaughtered them, and he just doesn't get beat at staying trips. Don't worry about the mile and a half.
So he's not getting beaten today.
I don't think so. No, I just think he wins. DJ, £15 to Santiago. You've got an opinion on this?
Yeah, I think he's probably the best there we've ever seen. Is he? Is he better than Yates?
That's a toughie. Well, handicapper would tell you not. Actually, I think if rated the Racing Post handicaps have rated him just £1 below. So maybe that's about to change today.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think obviously with Yates, they're different types of horses. I just think with Stradivarius, look, it was a terrible Gold Cup. Let's be honest about it; it was awful. But he's just a brilliant horse. It's going to be fascinating. I don't think it's a betting race at all, because I think Santiago is just the type you want for a stayer. He's just so relaxed. He does things easily. He's improving. He's a good attitude. He doesn't do a whole lot wrong. I thought he was very good at Ascot, very professional. And when he needed to go through a gap on the home turn at the Curragh, he went through it. He's a good horse. I just think he's up against the great, and it's not a betting race. It's a fascinating race to watch and just to enjoy. I think Stradivarius will win. Yeah, I mean, Santiago could be beaten 5 lengths with on the bridle and still be favourite for the St Ledger, I think, couldn't he? Pat Cooney, there is potentially betting angles, though, for punters out there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just on Stradivarius, we all had him penciled in as winning any race by under 2 lengths, but he did win the Ascot Gold Cup by 10, didn't he? And you look at Santiago, he's an Irish Derby winner in name only, it's a matter of fact, but how good is that form? I fully expect Stradivarius to win, but if the 4 to 7s and the 2 to 1s don't float your boat, then you just click on our race, Dave, look at each way extra. And if you fancy a horse like Naive Road and you're cursing there's only the 7 runners and you can't back him each way, well, you can with each way extra. You can pick what your place terms are. You look at Naive Road, beaten 10 by Stradivarius, but he's the same official rating as Santiago. You can back him 20 to 1 2 places, 9 3 places, or 6 4 places. If you back Who Dares Wins when he runs in these handicaps all the time, well, look, he's 100 to 1 to be in 2 places, 90 for 3. And if you think he can be in the 4 places, okay, he's work to do, but you are getting 28 to 1 for your money. So there's betting opportunities out there. This is certainly not just a case of just enjoy the favourite winning and mess around with a few forecasts. You can back some of these horses at fancy prices. And if San Diego doesn't stay, for example, I suppose he will, but he might not, then you can be backing these outsiders and they're run on in the frame.
Nice angles there. Stradivarius, Lewis Porteous in the paper today in the Members Club section says he has a personality to rival Frankie Dettori. Let's sit back and enjoy it. Right then, as the dust settles on the Goodwood Cup, it is time for the Qatar Handicap over 5 furlongs. And the first thing to say about this race, the pace map looks absolutely insane. That hasn't stopped you from going for a front runner.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have to make the run in, and he ain't going to be able to anyway because
right next
I've got Recon Mission, who just shaped really well. I mean, he led over 6 furlong at Newbury last time, beaten by Nahar, who might well be a group horse in the making. Nahar won easily, but he just failed to hold on for third. He's dropped back to a mark of 97, which is the mark of his last one. He won a decent race at York. He's got some decent form at 5 furlong too. He ain't going to get to the front early. We've got Caspian Prince and Ornate next to him. If you remember Ornate, absolutely. In last year's Stewards Cup, Ornate was about 6 lengths clear after half a furlong.
I don't think there's a horse in training with earlier toe than Ornate.
Well, we'll see that. Caspian Prince might be getting a little bit old, but he ain't going to be far off.
Ornate is just
But yeah, they're going to go really fast. And of course, the only horse, the only hold-up horse is Celsius, who is Fav, but he is drawn 10, and he's drawn well away from the pace, and it could just be. Will he get any cover? And he can be very slowly away, so he might have a hell of a lot of ground to make up. Well, he might be able to do it. Trainer Tom Clover is a man going places.
Yeah, he is. He's my bet of the day, actually.
It could be absolutely set up for him.
He won at the meeting last year.
I'm hoping Week on Mission will just sit behind.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm very keen on Celsius for exactly what Paul said. Another tick for Recon Mission, DJ.
Yeah, I'm a Recon Mission fan. It's a kind of a fascinating race because I think Celsius is that 4-year-old who is getting better all the time. But I just look at Recon Mission and I go back to that run at Newbury last time in a very good race. And he has just got so much natural speed. It's effortless to him in the first half of the race. Goodwood should be tailor-made from it, really should. And, when you look through his form lines, there's certain form lines where you say, this horse is going to be a really, really progressive, promising sprinter. So I'm just hoping, I think Goodwood is made for him. He's drawn in stall 5. I think he'll bounce out there, and I think he'll really stretch them. And I don't know if they're going to get to him or not. I think today could be the day for Recon Mission.
The pace map, as I said, looks crazy. Pat Cooney, are you going for one of the speedsters, or are you going for something to pick him up?
I'm going for one at a price here. I think A Moment of Madness is very fairly priced. He's double figures, and he didn't run too badly last time. He's another one that likes to be up there punching, of course. But he's got a form line to die for. In the Portland last year at Donny, he was only second, beaten half a length by Oxted, July Cup winner. That was off a marker 95. He's off a marker 93 today. So Connections can't quibble with the handicap mark for this fella. He's £2 lower for being beaten short distance by Oxted. So he's a winner waiting to happen. I suspect it might be the Portland again, maybe. But I quite like him at 14-1. You could do worse, I think.
Okay, one at the price of Pat Cooney. We're really cooking now. This is Fast and Furious. Right then, 420 race, 2-year-olds, time to shine, and like the proven form that we have, is a bit of guesswork going on here, but the market has been very lively since the inception of this race. And where are you going? Are you going for a newcomer? Or are you going for the
it's difficult. Look, I'm not going to deny this isn't a race that I'm likely to have a bet in. I mean, I thought Alcumate looked very, very promising at Newbury. Was obviously the second string on jockey bookings, now the first string with Jim Crowley riding. Stayed on, ran on nicely, just a sort of nice introduction. Marcus Regoning has run some pretty good maidens at Goodwood in the past, 2-year-olds. So I think he's the one to beat, and we just know so little about the others. It's no surprise there might be a good one lurking in there. There might need to be, because I think he's okay. But I mean, I think he's definitely the one to beat. But I mean, if you're smashing into 6-4 shots when half the field haven't run and you've got no idea how good they are, then
is that what we were expecting it to go off?
It's not the way to do.
I mean, Maze Dallarad for Johnson. If you watch back that run last time at Newmarket, he has got a lot of natural speed, and you have to think with Ryan Moore on, they're just going to point and go. So I'm a bit surprised he wasn't running over 7. So maybe he's a little bit sharper this time around. DJ, one for the Fav?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, you're obviously, as Kealy said there, you're a hostage to something that could be extraordinary, a newcomer that could be really, really good. But this Alcumate, he's a half-brother to the Brogy man, who I think won in debut for Brendan Duke, actually, and has since went to a couple of different stables. And Gloves Lynch, who, 2 decent horses on this side of the water. He was 220,000 as a yearling. He's a showcase, and that run at Newbury, it was one of these runs where you're saying to yourself, could he have actually won the race? And he probably could have. He was beating a length. Martin Dwyer from the furlong pole, I wouldn't say he was huffing and puffing coming back in, let's just say. I would say this horse is extremely good. Obviously, Hannons are banging out the newcomers, winning left, right and centre. And Riff I Wonder could be very, very good. But, with that run under its belt for Alcumate, I think they will have to be really, really good to beat him. Even if they are going to end up being really good, it's their first run, Everett needs to go right. He has that run under his belt. I'd say there's loads of improvement to come. I think this horse will go off odds on.
Okay. Pat Cooney, can you give that some substance?
Yeah, he's going to shorten rather than drift, that's for sure. It was a very promising debut. There's just not the buzz around for other horses in the race. Riffer Wonder, he cost 100 grand. He's been okay in the market, 4-1. One at a price, number 3, Imperial Dawn for the Coles stable, Sheen Murphy up. He ran okay at Newbury himself on his debut. The form doesn't match up to Alchemate. Alchemate is certainly the one to beat here. You talk about, would you rather back Battleground at his price or Alchemate at the similar price? I think Alchemate at his current price, he must have a better chance for me. So I expect him to win, really.
Yeah, I do as well. You mentioned showcasing DJs by the same sire, of course, of Mahatha as well. Big week for Marcus Dragoning, and Hamdan Helmet Tomb starts here. Bring the curtain down then on the first day of Glorious Goodwood's, the EBF Fillies handicap. We open up with one. Well, this is over on mile 3. I'll start here. Got Tulip Fields. You look for the Mark Johnson horse, don't you? The one that's disappointed on their last couple of starts. It's a tried and tested formula. She comes into it. She went well at the course in her maiden last year. I just think she'll go really well.
Yeah, she'll go close. I tell you what, the other thing Johnston has, I mean, you've got to keep an eye on this for the rest of the week. Johnston has a load of horses in handicaps that are just showing signs of running into form. It'll be a very interesting week. I'm sure he's going to bang in a couple of decent price winners. Probably won't look the first string either.
Never does.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. Always trying, remember. You know what I mean? So he's going to have 3 in there, and they're all going for it. But anyway, I'm going to take a chance on the Rafe Beckett top weight. I know it's a 4-year-old's got to give chunks of weight for age away. She, second time out last season, she absolutely slaughtered a mare called Hyanna, who improved best part of £10 afterwards. She disappointed last time. She's had another break. The thing about Rafe Beckett horses is they routinely get ignored in the market. I mean, a mate of mine says it's because all Rafe Beckett's owners are too posh.
That's a Bruce Millington thing.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. So they don't bet. You know what I mean. So she's a big price based on what she's done there, and. If you had a bet on every single one of Rafe Beckett's horses since he started training on the flat in Britain, you'd only lost 3% of your money. And to put that into context, if you backed all of Aidan O'Brien's flat runners in Ireland since he started training, you'd have done 18% of your money.
There we go.
You know what I mean? You're
Someone's
talking about the best
numbers.
trainer ever. You know what I mean? The market.
6 runners in a derby.
No, exactly.
Rafe Beckett doesn't have 6 runners in a derby.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the market reflects. But Aidan O'Brien also has 33-1 winners on a regular basis in derbies. He's had 40s and 33s and 25s, hasn't he? You know what I mean? So
Aidan O'Brien's owners, if you like, are playing with tiddlywinks. Rafe Beckett's lot can't even work an iPhone, probably can't even get down to a bookie. So
exactly, yeah. But his horses routinely get overlooked in the market.
Okay, DJ, where are you going in the finale?
I'm going with Dancing Approach, the improver, to complete the hat trick. I just think everything about her suggests that she's just going to keep progressing. Like that last time at Haydock, now it was on soft ground, and you worry maybe does she need a little bit more cut in the ground. But this finely tuned, I think, is a decent stare in the making. Pot of Paint was third, and I thought it was a decent race, and she kind of blew them apart, to be honest. She kicked clear kind of 2 out, and then the race was just over. I'd say she's good. She's gone up £8 to a mark at 79. I think she could even be a bit better than that. Even when you go back to her kind of runs in maidens and stuff, she was 4th to Walliack, a horse I like on Wednesday, won 125 to 1. So she obviously, hadn't been shown that much at home, but she's just blossomed lately. And I think a mark of 79 is still okay for Dancing Approach. I think she'll complete the hat trick.
Typical slow burner for the stable. Bit surprised, Pat Cooney, to see she's not favourite. It looks like Marcus Dragoning holds the key here again.
Well, just about. Well, I would say, Dave, number 5, Eclair de Lune, George Scott Ben Curtis, has been the best backed horse in the race overnight and in the early part of this morning. So she's very much one to consider. I'm with DJ a bit. I like a Dancing Approach. Okay, you wouldn't be thrilled about her going up £8 for the win last time out, but this is the Rogers Charlton stable, and they've taken a while to really hit form, but they're 2 big winners over the weekend. So you're back in a hot stable. Tom Greatorex, he rode a big winner at Ascot on Sunday. So, you're backing people in full of confidence. She's full of confidence. Shame about the £8, but I could see her just progressing the game. This is a hot race to finish the card with, though.
Yeah, it is hot, Pat, absolutely. We've got Galway as well this week, and I know, DJ, you want to sneak in a couple there. I'll give you the floor.
You're forgetting Galway. I was getting a bit worried there for a second. My strongest fancy of the entire week at Goodwood or Galway runs today. Now, it's not a big price, but Mostacker, who runs in the 5:15, there was some 13 to 8 early doors. I think it's 11 to 10 with Bet365 now. Mostacker in the 5:15 at Galway today. I'd be devastated if this horse is beaten. Should have won at Roscommon last time. And then one at a bigger price, because we don't want to be taking short prices about these horses at Galway. In the 6:45, which is the big Colin Quinn BMW Mile Handicap, I like one at a massive price here called Magnetic North, who's trained by Sheila Lavery. Won the Nasrullah handicap last year. Well handicapped off a mark of 86. The ground has come perfect. I just think if Roy Cleary can get Magnetic North into a good early position, could take a bit of stop, and it'll be about 16-1, possibly bigger. So Magnetic North and Mustacker are my two at Galway.
How could we possibly forget about Galway? He said he was going to spend 10 seconds on each. What did you make it?
He wasn't far off. We'll give him that.
My 10 seconds.
We're giving that. I just looked at that card. I hadn't even looked at Galway, and the first horse that looked at me was Salt and Stall, who's been a cliff horse of mine for years. Didn't even know it was running. I'm going to end up losing more money on it now.
He won at the meeting last year. It's Galway. It's What a Shout. Right, the business end of the show then here on What a Shout. Day 1 naps. Paul Kealy.
Yeah, I like Recon Mission and 345. I think it will track the hard pace and hopefully be strong enough to repel the latecomer Celsius. I will just say one more thing. This is anecdotal, but year in, year out, you get these really late gambles at Goodwood, and it's incredible how many times they landed. So watch out for that massive market move. I think you get more at Goodwood than anywhere else.
I'm hoping that's Tin and Darley in the second race. That's mine out. DJ.
Oh, Space Blues, 245, Goodwood.
Nice and simple. Pat Cooney, give us a winner.
Yeah, I'll go in the opener. Tomorrow's Dream. Unlucky loser in the Class 2 last time out. This is a Class 3. Should have won the Class 2. I think she'll win the Class 3 today in the opener.
There you go. There's your 4-timer. Right then, time to sign off here on What a Shout, opening day of glorious Goodwood. My thanks to David Jennings. You're back for each and every morning for the punters out there, DJ.
Yeah, they'll be absolutely sick of me, as they are already.
Not a chance. Pat Cooney, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, as the Gaul comedians say, I'm here all week.
He is here all week, as am I. You're not, but you will be back selectively.
I'm not here all week, no. I'm here Thursday, Saturday. Hopefully I'll be able to gloat over a couple of winners and put up a couple more.
It would be nice, wasn't it? Good luck wherever you're going. A reminder, responsible gambling is the motto here on the show. There's so much to go out, hone in on your winners. Don't forget to download the free Racing Post app on the App Store, the Google Play Store as well. Don't forget to get your comments in for the panellists. We love to read those. You can do that on YouTube, Facebook, social media. We love it. Do let us know. Goodwood, day 1. That's a wrap.